All right, well, welcome back to Photo Story, and today I'm going to take you to southern Utah, just south of Moab, Utah, to Canyonlands National Park. Now, many of you might be familiar with that park, and most of the places people go there, it's called a specific district. It's called Islands in the Sky, but I want to take you to a different place, which is called the Needles District. So we have Nala here to help us as we go along. It's south of Moab, Utah, and I'll show it up on a map there for you. And you actually turn off along the road, very deserted road, and it takes about 45 minutes from that turnoff to actually get into the actual park. So a lot of people think, oh, well, that's just 45 minutes of waiting. No, what I found out, and of course we'll show these pictures on the screen, is that the drive-in is honestly almost as interesting as the park itself. The day I drove in, there were a number of thunderstorms, rain in the area, and this actually kind of created a nice dramatic effect as Nala walks across me. Yes, sweetie. There you go. Settle over there. All right. And there's farmland. There's volcanoes in the distance. It was a very interesting, unexpected part of the trip, and of course you'll see those there. But once you arrive at the Needles District, first thing you notice are the needles, and these are in fact sandstone formations that used to be just a firm, solid, flat surface, but over time the sandstone has actually eroded and has formed these kind of turrets, which are called the needles. So that's where it comes from. So you see those when you're there. You also see a number of volcanic formations of some activity that used to be in the area. So that's kind of what I did when I first started out in the area. And then I headed up to an area that's called Elephant Hill. Now this particular area initially is a two-wheel drive road. It eventually transitions to a four-wheel drive, but a regular car can get along the two-wheel drive portion. So I get up there and I started taking a trail. I can't recall the exact name of it, but a trail kind of out into the wilderness. And it's just basically you out there. And I found kind of a little enclave, a little nook to sit in, and these are some of the views I saw. There was this massive boulder I was right next to. You could also see some transitions, I guess that sandstone or limestone of different layers of, I'm sure there was some archaeological and geologic history in there. You saw that. And then I was looking out at this scene, and you see the needles out there and kind of a big boulder, and that kind of summed up the trip. Now, it wasn't too long of a trip. It's actually not a huge area. And of course, you could spend most of the area is actually out in the wilderness. There's not roads to get to it. But so that's kind of the Needles District area. And then that rest of that day, I actually headed back to, I was living in New Mexico at the time, headed back down that way. And here's one thing you should always note. Once you leave your destination, don't assume, and this is true for going as well, don't assume that there aren't going to be any interesting sights along the way. Some people will make that mistake and say, oh, I've got to go to this viewpoint I read about. But a lot of times you find some gems along the way, and if you're not paying attention, you miss those. So I was driving by Cuba, New Mexico, in this particular shot, getting near sunset, and just a magic kind of light in the valley there. And I think those might be some other volcanoes in the distance in that particular shot. And then as I got closer into Albuquerque, there's Sandia Peak in the background. They always talk about, oh, this perfect light. If it just hits the mountain just right, you get a perfect shot. I decided to interpret this one in black and white, but you get that kind of perfect light. So that kind of summed up that day to the Needles, and then, of course, taking down into New Mexico as well. So you got a bonus there. I definitely appreciate you watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram, because we now upload there as well, be sure to like or follow us on there as well. So appreciate your time. And for Nala and I, you have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Go down. There you go. You're going to sit right here. There you go.